Hi everyone, it's Wisdom Wednesdays. I am Ariana Newcomer, certified biofield tuning practitioner, spiritual mentor, Dove Oracle priestess, and I'm continuing a theme. Last week I talked about our stories. Is it true or is it a story? My full moon oracle message from Sunday was about how do we discern what to believe? And are the stories that define us, the stories that we hold unconsciously. And today is about conspirituality. This is a word that I learned from a woman in my women's circle. This is a circle of women who have completed the Wise Women Immersion Program and continue to gather to support each other and to do our subtle activism practice. And this is actually something that I have been really thinking about and talking about with many of my friends in my spiritual community. Why is it that so many spiritual people that I know are buying into and spreading conspiracy theories of all kinds? I mean, they're just flying everywhere right now. And before I even heard the word conspirituality, I'd had this idea that, I think that as spiritual people, we may be more susceptible to conspiracy theories because we already are accustomed to looking outside the normal, outside the conventional, to seeing and hearing things that others don't see and hear. We talk to spirit guides, we might connect to trees and fairies. And these things are not, they're more accepted than they used to be, but they're not widely accepted still. And so we already have a tendency to be looking outside of the normal for answers to a lot of things. And so I was talking with friends about this, and then this word conspirituality came in. And it's a word that was apparently coined back in 2011 when some psychologists wrote a paper on it. And it's the conflation of conspiracy theories with spirituality. And they were essentially kind of saying what I'd been thinking, that people who tend to be they were talking about New Age spirituality. I think we're a little beyond New Age spirituality at this point. But we are tending to be more susceptible to buying into conspiracy theories because of the beliefs that we hold and other beliefs that we don't hold. So we had this wonderful discussion about it, and in our circle we were rather distressed by coming across a teacher that we thought we could really rely on, and then find that, okay, this stuff is, I love this and I can go with this. And then all of a sudden they'll go off on one of these conspiracy theories and we're going, oh, but I can't hold that. And so we really do need to be sovereign. One of the things that I teach a lot with my clients and in my programs is our sovereignty, that we get to choose. And my best teachers and favorite mentors are always people who leave that open. It's, I don't have all the answers to everything. Here's what I have for you, and you get to choose what you use and what you don't use. And that's the way I teach and mentor too. I'm not a guru. I don't have a path laid out that you have to follow. I'm here to assist you in claiming your own wisdom. And I think we need to really be more careful. We need to be more careful as spiritual people. So last week when I talked about our stories and how our stories define us, and they are really unconscious, they're things that we grew up with. They're things that we saw in movies, we read in books, we learned from teachers, parents, religious upbringing. And a lot of those things can still operate even though we think we're moving into higher consciousness, right? And I think it's important to think of not just higher consciousness, but deeper consciousness and wider perspectives. So, and we're also just really used to going with our intuition, right? We tend to trust our intuition. We tend to trust our guidance, seeing the unseen, believing what others don't. But we still want to have an explanation for what's going on. And we look outside the normal channels to find our explanations. So again, this can lead us into, oh, I'm going to go along with this theory. So, and we're just as susceptible to confirmation bias as anyone else. Confirmation bias means we're looking for information that fits into our existing biases. And we all have them. This is like the unconscious stories. It's a similar kind of thing. We're just as likely to look for things that confirm our distrust of the mainstream, that confirm our unconscious biases that come from our people. We're as tribal as the rest of humanity. So we need to be more discerning. Let's be more humble. Let's take the time to really sit with something and ask the deeper questions of what exactly attracts me to this idea. Is it useful and helpful? Who benefits from it? Is it really my intuition guiding me, or my wounds and biases and stories? And this is one of the places where we can get into difficulty. We can think, this is my intuition. My gut says yes. My gut says this is true. And yet we can get those really good feel-good chemicals from feeling part of our tribe, from feeling like we're better than others, from our brains will give us these chemical rewards for things that aren't necessarily true or that aren't really helpful. So, and we really have to be careful about stuff from social media or that comes from a single website that is designed to make us angry and outraged on very thin evidence. And there's so much of that out there right now. And a whole bunch of people sharing something is not evidence that something is real and true. We got to remember there are many people out there who are deliberately trying to divide and polarize us further for their own ends, to discredit democracies like Russia and China, to discredit our political processes for political gain, so you won't go vote if you believe this or that, to simply promote outrage to get shares and clicks so they can make money from the ads on the site that the shares and clicks lead you to. So just more discernment is required. It's required. It's required. So in my full moon oracle message from Sunday, my guides gave us many wonderful questions to use to help us discern what to believe, and reminded us that humans have been spectacularly wrong more than we have been right through our history. So I'm going to put a link to that blog so that you can look through and start to use those questions. I think they're going to be really, really helpful as we go through this, because what we really want is to be promoting the shift into expanded human consciousness, into greater unity, into more connection, into partnership, into a culture where we can create the solutions that we need in order to have a planet we can continue to live on. And we won't do that by promoting more division, more dissonance, more disconnection, more chaos. We won't do it. We have to be willing to not know. We have to be willing to sit in that place of unknowing and continue to look with discernment and ask those questions about everything, and not repost and share the stuff that's particularly kind of careful. Let's be careful. Let's be more discerning. And we need more love and compassion for ourselves too. So see you next time.